Good morning, class. Welcome to Homeroom with Unc and Market Monk. Morning, P. How's your week?
Really good. Just a lot of follow through on crypto stuff I held through the election, so just feeling good about those. Um, just Probably gonna see some follow through there. A lot of opportunities and a couple other things. LLY hit almost right exactly that spot you talked about, and then went long there. So that was good. And then just smalls. I mean, even just stuff I had a little bit left in
Mm-hmm.
AOII and stuff like that. So, I mean, 30 to 50% moves and all those. Just you don't have to have a lot of shares to make a dent. It's pretty good.
Yeah, didn't have enough crypto, but I kind of had a plan in the last week. Not really do much because of the election, but stuff that I have in just manage it and um, yeah. I wish I would have had more crypto looking back, but the one I mean, you take what you can get. It's a good example of that. Like, sometimes you're not going to get the one like you always say. I think one's going to run 15%, one's going to run 50, and you kind of luck of the draw there. And um, did okay, but could have done better with if I would have trusted your read a little more. And then, but the one that really saved me last week was, or not saved me, but really like made the week very profitable was Bros. And positioning in that was easy. And I mean, I think for better part of 6, 7, 8 months, we've been talking about that being a $50 stock. Well, as the great Joe Biden says, well, son of a bitch, uh, we're at the 50. And um, the small stuff you're talking about, like AA, Docu, both rereads from the last two sessions. Even pointed it out in the last two sessions. Hey, I'm still holding this. What do you got? Because we're at a level that I see as support and resistance. Both those took off for me. So, couple rounds of golf, couple exits and some stuff I probably held a little longer than I usually do, but a good week overall over here.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And yeah, and we had that election session. But just to sort of I guess reiterate a few things there. Do you think that I mean the definitive result so early
Weird as fuck.
maybe accelerated some of these moves?
Yo, 100%. Because I mean, we talked about it in the last
Yeah.
session that we thought we'd get a week of at least a week, 3, 4 days. 4 days is like a great scenario of uncertainty. So to get certainty at probably midnight West Coast time, the night of the election, um, yeah, I think that's why you seen pre-market Wednesday do what it did. I mean, it just took off that. We went to 590 on Spy instantly. I mean, that was the $20
Yep.
move. If you take, and I don't know why people don't look at this. I never talk about it, but it's how I look at charts. But if you take that percentage that it moved in the pre-market, it really didn't move much in the regular market hours comparatively, right? Like you had a $9 move
Right.
over
Right.
over 3 days in the market, maybe an $8 move, but you had a $20 move that one pre-market session. So I think, yeah, I think it. What we thought, or I'll take the blame on that. That was going to happen over the next week or two happened overnight. I definitely didn't see that happening. I mean, you said 600 though if Trump wins, and then we talked about the two scenarios that we would run to 600 and then have to like calm the room down a little bit. Not our room, but just in general, the market, calm it down a little bit. So, no, interesting to me that we're here this quick for sure. Um, the rate cut went real smooth. There was nothing crazy there. Also, so just that being smooth through two pretty big events, to be honest. Yeah, I think gave that certainty is usually positive for the market. I mean, that's how it. Yeah, they don't like turmoil.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um,
Yes. And there was again just some interesting things in individual sectors. I'm still kind of on the perception of solar, that it's and I think you still like in any sector you just look for okay, overbought, oversold. Um, oil didn't just go to the moon with a reaction to Trump, but I still think that's setting up, and it just seems to me like the flow was positioned in a way that he was going to win. I guess looking in hindsight, I mean, but yeah, I mean, I think there's still some opportunities there. These are still conditions where people are going to lose a lot of money because um, one of the things that you just mentioned, and especially in options, if most of the move happens in pre-market and there isn't even really a good opportunity to go short, because it might pop up right at the beginning of the day and then just kind of level out. There's a lot of frustration happens in those conditions, and so then they'll start holding overnight, and then you get SPY goes down 0.2% overnight, and then those positions are done. So it's really tough for like emotional scalpers, and I think that's going to continue. It's a hell of a lot easier to manage positions that you have, and look for opportunities and new ones and move around sectors like we do. It's just so much better, and it's not surprising that works more because there's more work put into it than just waking up and chasing minute candles.
What would you just call it? A emotional scalper? Is that?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
that. That ain't gonna work, man. That's like a shy
yeah.
stripper. That ain't gonna work. I mean,
Right, yeah, yeah.
that's not gonna work for you. I watch those guys. I mean,
But that's what they do. That's 100% what they do. Yeah, yeah,
in those days where there was some good scalpers when the market was definitely in those conditions, those guys would just draw a line anywhere on a chart and be like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna play it." I mean, and they would play those
yeah,
small bounces, and
yeah.
I mean, there's no science to that, but being aggressive and lacking emotion. So and it stick and
Right.
really those guys would stick to their plan well. When they'd be down, a percentage, usually they just cut it. So yeah, that's not those trade, and
Yeah,
that's I mean, really, P. That brings back to what we talk about a lot. Like, I mean, we could throw you trades all day. It's easy, but it's yourself that gets in the way of the trade. So you got to figure that out first, and then your lifestyle in general, what works for you. So yeah, a lot of these kids just have they don't even take that in the court. It's just how can I have 100, 200, 1,000, whatever bucks. How can I buy a BMW or whatnot? Or a house off of 100 or 1,000 bucks. It's a different mindset.
that's where the style switch comes in. That just rotate around
Yeah, you got to try something
crypto,
because you got to try something new.
sports betting. Yeah,
You have to. I mean, if it's
yeah,
not working, you're.
yeah.
I mean, you got to give them a little bit of credit for being smart. They got to try something new. And you
Right.
constantly see that. I think that's one thing that clears the air for us is we have done the same thing no matter the weather for about 4 years. So I mean, there's no. If we switch, I used to say
Yeah.
that. Remember when I switched my style? Unfollow me. I used to say that all the time. When I switch what I do,
Right.
just
Oh, absolutely.
unfollow me. Just run away. If I start trading options,
Right.
run away from me. If I start trading crypto, leave.
Yeah.
if I'm on shitty small caps, everything's all right. We're good.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Crypto, man, you again another. I mean, I don't want to pump your head up too much this week, but man, you've been talking about this. You were the
Yeah.
guy on the side of the street with the Earth is dying, sky is falling sign, but all the shit's coming true. So, Spy 600, crypto
Yeah.
going to 100K. Where are we at on that crypto 100K path? We'll talk a little bit about that for me.
Yeah. So um, there's still a lot of shorts in Bitcoin, and there was a like massive amount of covering that happened just within like Bitcoin futures, and and all that crap. But the I mean the main thing that I read that I've always read, there's just a few stocks, few crypto stocks that are like my barometer, and it's MSTR coin, and so to me, you still have these MSTRs doing this thing again where the leaps look absurd, but
Yeah,
here we go.
you tell
So
me.
it's like you're seeing things in the 380s, the 400s, and it's like yeah, probably do that. And I with that one, let me call up that chart real quick.
On it.
I know we don't do a lot of individual names here, but I was trading it, and in my trading view, I'm like, what the hell is this line? 274.34. I was like, I know I didn't trade it back when it was
Oh,
27
the
bucks, but what it just
split
turns
line.
out that was that's a split line, right?
Yeah,
And they
yeah,
don't
yeah,
move automatically. So so
yeah.
then it started kind of reacting around that level. Um, and I don't know. I was thinking that was just confirmation bias or something, but I guess the point is I don't know if it's this pivot or whatever it's going to be. Um, it's not just going to give up these gains with crypto doing this, and so when I do see, I mean, $380, that's $100 move. It just made $100 move not that long, in the past 6 7 weeks. So um, so it can continue, and I don't see any signs of it stopping. And I don't know if you've seen the charts of ETF inflows for Bitcoin in its first year compared to gold. A little bit kind of apples and oranges comparing those two to me, but it's staggeringly different. It's just like 20 times higher or something like that. So there is a lot of money locked up in Bitcoin, and the way that BlackRock has acquired and all of that. And if you look at so forgetting the whole history of Bitcoin, the Bitcoin from when this new money got into it, the chart that they see from when they got in and to now, the way that that asset moved, there's a lot of optimism there. There's a lot of narrative about a national Bitcoin reserve and all of that sort of thing. So yeah, I think it propels it to six figures. It's gonna do some violent pullbacks along the way and clear out a lot of leverage and all that. But if you have some things from our spots, or you pay attention when we start talking about laggers, crypto stocks that are still under $2 that'll get found, you're going to do really well in that sector.
Pretty sure there's a video out there that literally went over my whole entire list of every single
Yeah,
line, of every
right.
single level. That's pretty new, so I
Yeah,
would
man,
take the time.
you dusted off a few names there that I was like, oh yeah, that one.
Hey, I
And
don't.
I got a few more. So
I don't let stuff go, so you know how that is.
yeah,
Unk is a collector.
right.
Oh, no, I won't even say that right now. Yeah, yeah. So, what about the boring stuff? Anything over there after the election that is
Yeah. So
changing, or are we still kind of
well,
on
I think
our same path?
the most volatile uh, catalyst both directions is China to me. Um, they have a big impact on copper and metals, and so as like the tariff narrative, right?
Hmm.
As that comes about, um, I think that you could see a pretty decent pullback in copper. I mean, copper's still sitting at 430. Um, there's no trend change or anything like that, but yeah, I mean, I think that could pull some things back. Um, silver to me, still just going to kind of do this 32 to 36 thing for a while. So I kind of just expect that to bounce down there. And then gold, I mean, on my end, there's really nothing, there's no sign of gold slowing down. So I just think that is still going to be a really popular asset for any kind of global uncertainty. A lot of these pullbacks, the dollars got really strong after Trump won, um, so that sort of pulled some of those back. But no, I don't see a big trend change there. I just think, yeah, the China back and forth, big impact on the boring stuff. Also, I mean, to me, semiconductors is the most susceptible sector to that kind of news. The impact that tariffs would have on electronics is pretty significant. So definitely watching that. And then, what do they build those things with? A lot of silver goes into those. A lot of copper goes into those. Um, so yeah, I'm still I'm not super bullish on those, like, for right now. I just think they might pull back for a bit.
Your aluminum call was pretty good. I don't
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, finally they, the KALU finally did it for me. AA's a
yep.
hanger out though. Um, China, like this that China. I don't know how else to say. They're a peaceful fucking country. I hate to say it, but I think they get a bad rap.
Yep.
I mean, last time, off the top of your head, you're a teacher, and last time China bombed another country. Yeah, exactly. 1979.
Well, yeah. I mean, right. Yeah.
1979.
Right.
1979. When we bombed another
Yeah.
country? Wait for it. Give me 5 seconds. Right
Oh,
there.
yesterday.
Right there. It just happened. It just happened. All right. I mean, so they're, I
Yeah.
mean,
Right. Yeah.
like, they're pretty fucking, I mean, like, this big, like, I mean, they do play economic games, but if they can benefit from
Yeah.
anything, they're
Yeah.
doing it. I mean, they're doing it. They took the entire electronic industry and said, "Hey, you can dirty our backyard," and they get a bum rap for that. But we have iPhones and computers at a reasonable price because of those guys. We just do. I mean, we got a lot of other plastic shit, but like they've taken the brunt of that, and they're not. They're set up to manufacture. They're not set up to fight, and they're not. I mean, that's more Russia's thing. Russia's more set up to fight, but China's is not. Yeah, I think they want to be stable. So every time I hear China's, oh, we could have a problem. Like, no, I think if we're reasonable, we have a great partnership with them usually. So the semis is a whole nother thing with
Oh, that's
Taiwan,
that's
but go ahead.
yes. Yeah. And so, yeah, my thing is, it is, if like Trump wants to play economic hardball with them, there's ways they can push back. They own a lot of our debt, and there's a lot of things they can do on their end. So that's just, I mean, to me, it's volatility, it's noise, it's opportunity more than anything else. And I still think the Chinese stocks themselves, are great opportunities when they get heavily oversold. Especially, I mean, even just the way that the time difference and the pre-market activity, and the way that pre-market activity sets up for the next day. I mean, if Baba tanks 6% overnight, you think that's going to hold
No,
when American markets open? It
no,
never does. So
get off my.
it's so if you're in it, it's like, number one, I don't think you get shaken out because of our entry was so good. But then, even on the day trade side, there's stuff there. So yeah, no. Overall, I'm in agreement, and I also think too. I mean, like Trump, I'm not trying to get um, political here, but the risk of Trump in terms of geopolitics is massively overblown.
Yeah.
Of,
Oh,
like,
sure, sure.
the man with the button and all that shit. So I get his rhetoric, and I get why people don't like him 100%. But in terms of his relationship um, with other countries, we've been there, done that, and I think it'll be more of the same there. And there's good that can come out of it as far as what we're talking about with stocks. And so yeah, I definitely look to that. One more topic related to the boring. Um, Germany and nuclear energy. I think that's something to pay attention to. That, talking about firing back up reactors, their renewable plan just isn't really working. So nuclear as green energy, I think, is um, still a big catalyst for that whole sector. The the AI nuclear thing was a nice pop, and I think that has some legs too. But just in terms of big time infrastructure, the miners that we're talking about, the demand for uranium, I think that's a big thing to watch going forward.
Yeah, no, and you're seeing the range in those charts currently. The rumor is going to be better than the implementation, in my opinion, just because it's
Well, the implementation is going to take 20 years,
yeah,
so
yeah. So
yeah.
the run up's
So,
going to be way better than that. So I just continue to play those how we've
yeah,
been. They're more, to be honest, they're more stable than the lithium plays. So I like them better. I mean, they're
yeah.
hard to get bagged in them, especially with our levels. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I think the more of the action, and it's not positive, is going to come from the natural gas side of that, because that's really what it's what it's replacing, is that current fight over natural gas, um, and them not having the supply because of the Nord Stream and the Russia Ukraine conflict. So, um, and then that's all of Europe. That's just not Germany specific. So I know they're the hardest hit, but I think that's the bigger commodity in the long run, because that's got it. We have to figure that out. We're a solid 2 years into very unstable natural gas market. So
And suppress natural gas market too. I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that Trump Trump probably puts that into the $4 to $6 area
I
during his
yeah.
term
So I
and
don't know
can
if I'm
support that. But
wrong. I don't know if I'm wrong on it, but what I think happened or is happening is, like, someone's losing, and I think it's us, on the price to keep it down for Europe, because
yeah,
someone blew up the pipeline, and they and said
right.
said you're not buying gas from Russia. I mean, that's definitely us. That's called a sanction. Um, we stop our funding if you're going to buy Russian gas, and then we're also going to give you gas at the price you used to get it at. So I think we're taking it in the butt twice on that, but I could be totally wrong if I'm reading it that way. Which easily Trump could stop in like a day. I would assume he could stop that quicker than he could stop the Russian and Ukraine war.
Said he is going to stop in a day. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Um, so before we get into spy, I don't know if like bonds are a thing you really
I,
pay that much attention to.
quarterly,
Um,
I look.
but but you know the 10 years the one I follow most closely, just because to me there's a correlation when the 10 year is popping off. It's not bearish for stocks, but they don't hold their intraday gains very well. You'll just see like a spike in the 10 year, and then you know Nvidia will reject pretty hard. It's up 4% and closes up 1.5% or something like that. So it's sort of like pop and fade conditions to me. And so I think that day to day, and this is where a lot of traders have a lot of trouble. It's We're in a very bullish setup here overall, but your day to day moves. When you look at a daily candle, and it's like that daily candle looks good, you can still get obliterated within that daily candle if you're trying to trade options. And so it's where don't chase calls, don't chase puts comes from, because a lot of that is, especially in the pre-market, it's defining the range of that stock for that day. And you just have to be really careful about that. That's why we talk about the secondary move being safer. Um, Options in particular, the price is really elevated early. For example, this will be my last example. If coin is up 4 or 5% pre-market on Monday, very possible, um, and you want to get in calls right when the market opens, because you're like, this thing's going to go another 10% from here. You're going to overpay on that option contract by at least $100, just because of that initial spike in demand, like right when the market opens. And then 5 minutes later, no matter what the stock's doing, that $100 is gone. And so then you can do fine if coin does go up another 10% that day, you're great. If it dips down to down 2.5% and then gets back to your entry, you're down $150 and the underlying is the exact same price. And it all happened in less than an hour. Um, so that's what I really want to caution people about, because particularly right now, that that's going to be kind of the condition. So, that being said, it's why I post a lot of low IV stuff because you don't really have that happen. So yeah, I just just be careful. It's one of those things where I used to talk about this with SMCI. A 1% move on John Deere is better than a 5% move on SMCI, and people can't understand that, but that's really how option premiums work. And so, you know, watch list some contracts, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So I just really, um, want people, if you're scared to enter and you're skittish about feels like spy's too high and everything. I think that's perfectly an okay reaction, but you can still learn a lot as by just watching how these stocks react over the next couple weeks. I think it's going to be uh, pretty hectic and crazy.
Yeah, too long didn't read. Buy shares. That's fine.
They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. So
well,
I can already.
yeah, but someone's got to say it. I guess someone's at least got to say it. So they're like, well, yeah, you did say that. Um,
Yeah.
I
I
think
mean, I'll.
I'm trying to think of like the perfect cross section of person that's new to stocks that should be trading options. I guess if you have a lot of time and you have a lot of time and not a lot of money, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's about it. But it's usually not going to be the case. And most people that gravitate towards us don't have a lot of time. And, they're the working man. So they're trying to shove something in for the first maybe 30 minutes of the day and then come back when they have that hour in the middle of the day. And, sometimes options doesn't work for the shares would be a little better for those guys than options. But do your homework if you're on it, like Professor's saying, like really watch list. We haven't said that in a long time, but watch list a couple contracts and just see how they move and outside of the stock, and then because that's what you want, right? You want the 20, 50, 100, 300% move in the option. So what does that take? So wait for that move to happen, and then kind of reverse engineer it on the chart and be like, oh, okay,
That's
go ahead.
that's where the crypto miners disappoint people
Yeah,
because
no shit.
their options don't actually typically move like that. You think they're going
I
to.
did.
Oh man, Riot went up 15% today.
Yep. No,
Let
I
me
bought
check
the
on
I
that.
bought the five
And
dollar
the
call,
contract.
$5 call, and my normal share size when it was like 480, and it got cooking, and I was like, yeah, here we go. This contract's gonna do good, and I did better on the shares percentage wise than I did on the contract. I did. It was the craziest thing I ever seen. I was like, How's this even right? I thought this should go up 4 or 5 times, but just that stock didn't work that way. That option, I could have exercised it at 5. Probably, I probably would have. I don't know. I'd have made like $20 as opposed to like 900 on the share side, right? But those shares, those were never coming back. That option is just a 2 week play. Like I value that. I don't think people value that, right? Like even if I got the option right, I got to do it again with a whole new strike and setup and all that 2 weeks later. Like that's always kind of bothered me on the option side. Sorry for ranting.
From our original coin entry, I was hitting coin every day, but I didn't have much, just that I was holding that were shares. Well, I do now, and so now I'm just kind of, just I have that core position, and then a secondary trade where I get in on the options and hedge and do all that. But I think everyone should understand. I mean, 80% of my trades are shares.
Yeah, sure.
Um,
It just took a
that
while to
and
get
that
there.
number goes up every year. Um, it's just and it comes from it's like use the work. Um, I don't have time to get on the minute chart on Piton and INQ and all that stuff. But I have the idea, I have the thesis, I see the flow. and I can just park and wait. And so that's what I'm doing, small after small after small. That's yeah, I don't mess with options on stocks under $30. It's just not worth my time. And so yeah, so that works for me. And I think that I would really encourage people to think about that. You don't want to start over every day. I don't care if you had a massive day and you turned your account from 1,000 into 6,000, but it's all cash the next morning. It's like, okay, here we go, gonna do it again. And that's very hard to do. It's really hard to do, and especially you take on that kind of risk. You have 2 bad days in a row, and then psychologically it just doesn't work. But if you're sitting there in INQ and Rigetti and Piton and then you're waiting on open and Tilray, like it's a lot better for you psychologically, a lot less effort, mental capital, all that stuff. You already did the work. Now you're just waiting for it to play out. So
Well, and you find with one
good
like
place to be.
that, Rigetti, that kind of sits in a zone for a while, and I mean, just that the price point on that
Yeah.
makes it. I mean, it's. I would assume if a perfect options chart would move like that, $1 to $1.50, back to $1, never really knifing under that for you. I mean, that seems like it
Yeah,
would be
absolutely.
perfect
Yep.
price point for somebody. So, yeah, just something to think about there. I mean, there's some people out there, but again, it fits their style. I mean, Goose comes in and out, right? Goose comes in and out and does a
Oh
great
yeah.
job scalping
Right.
options. Um, but like when she's in a play, she don't leave the screen. And there's some checks on her end that she uses. She uses um,
We
that book
we
thing.
traded the we traded the exact same LLY contract at the exact same time and didn't even talk about it, because we've both been on it. We both see the same thing. Her chart's probably got some diagonal lines on it. I don't. Um, different way to read the same book, but yeah, and those, I mean, you could okay, so you could say, well, if I buy $1,000 option contract on LLY, I could turn it to 8,000. Well, that wasn't really what we did. We were like $80. It ended up topping out at like 900 on Friday. So that's not an everyday thing, but it doesn't really need to be. And you just keep your sizing the same and keep hitting the same kind of setups, and you'll do really well.
Yeah, that 765 worked out, huh? It was close.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, let's get in the spot and get out of here so we're not an hour here today.
Yep.
Let's see what we had last week. 479, both of us on the top, so yeah, we got blown out on that end. And 62 and 66 was the bottom. 67. Who had 62? Oh, I got you there, P. I had the higher floor, not the higher. So I don't think no one had 600 last week. Let's just put that out there first.
No, no.
Oh,
So on my end, this if you go back to a couple weeks ago, and I brought this contract up last week too, that I said that a call has finally broken its way into the highest open interest. That enough other stuff is cleared out, and here we are, and it's 1220 615C, and lo and behold, that doesn't seem so crazy now. So that was their upside, and so what I'm looking for on the other end is what are they moving out of, or hedging, and so they've been getting in on 520p for March is kind of their current hedge, but to me that one's sort of pushing it. I think they need about $40 higher on the put strike, so they're probably going to have to roll that hedge at a loss. And so I'm looking for what is what's that next big one that they're going to do, because there's about 200,000 open interest in that 520p. So I want to see that, but to me this sets up as very short term bullish into the end of the year. I don't see any other real scenario here on my end. Um, it would take news. I don't know what that news would be.
yeah, we're
We're
still
already through the election, so
yes, we're still in that two to three candle or one to three candle pullback is all you're gonna get. Um, the 50 SMA kind of been the floor on that since that. Besides this one big pullback, but yeah, it's hard to pick levels up here because there's not a lot. I'm I don't think we run through that. Like you said, 615. I don't think we can run to that in a week. I think this is the biggest candle you're going to see the rest of the year. Um, no, I got pullback this
And
week.
it's
I
December.
got a
It's
little
December
pullback
20th.
this week.
So
I mean, I think we probably have a good Monday or Tuesday since Monday we're closed. But then I think we kind of just not necessarily
mhm.
die or anything, but just probably get lesser volume. I'm talking this week, but I think we are both on kind of we're going to find a high point and we'll
Yeah.
have some end of the year selling. That's going to happen with our Trump and Harris. We'll go over that real quick. Both had the rate cut right. I had the election right. Both of us agree this wasn't the best outcome for the market short term. Um, so I think we're just getting the certainty bound. We got all of that last week, and I unless he comes out and says some stuff specifically, I just don't really see us moving severely north quickly. So you get the pullback and you get the retrace, maybe with a little bit of a higher high, but it's going to stay kind of tighter the rest of the year. These candles are really good. The ones we got back here in September. I think we get kind of this motion next. At least until the first of the month or so.
Yeah. So when it was like the 560 to 540 thing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So
So
let's say 610 to 580 now, something like that. And 610 probably not
right.
probably a little too high. Um, yeah.
No, I could definitely see that. I think on the so in kind of the option world, the way they piled into those 615s and are probably up 300% or so on them, and so you sell the close or roll or whatever. It just gives them a lot of flexibility, for that. So yeah, we could dip and then rip right through that at the end of or early December or something like that. I could see that. But yeah, as far as this week goes, kind of go maybe a little above mid candle in the pullback. I got 588.14 as my
Floor?
bottom here, and what's that?
That's your floor?
588. Yeah, floor. Yep, yep.
Okay.
And then yeah, I'll say 601.31 top.
That's a pretty Okay, so I got a really big range this week, P, compared to you. 603.21 up top. Again, I think that happens Monday. I think you get a little pop still, just some continuation. Um, or Tuesday, excuse me, and then 582.65. This daily volume profile down here. I'm just gonna go with that. There's just not a lot there, so that pullback can happen pretty fast. If any kind of selling comes in, even if it's short term, which I do think we get this week. Definitely staying inside this candle on the close for me, though. I don't think we finish above here or below here, but somewhere inside there for sure. I lose you, P.
Um,
There you are.
no, I'm here. So yeah, I mean one thing that could definitely drive it to me is I think chips could get a little skittish, and it's Taiwan. They came out 2 days ago. They're going to limit manufacturing to particular Chinese clients, or just stuff like that. It's yeah. So even news today: Taiwan Semiconductor stops advanced AI chip production for China. I talked before about how ASML, like the where chips start, where chips are born, the equipment that actually makes the things. Um, their guidance has not been good. On the other end of it, the hype side, Palantir, Nvidia, and all that, it's all rainbows and unicorns. So the truth is somewhere in the middle. And given the dominance of chips within the indices, certainly that to me could be the thing that helps pull them back. So yeah, I would definitely look for that too.
Well, you just had a run in a lot of those bigger names. And Tesla just ran
Yeah,
how far? Nvidia's above that 34 mark I talk about. Microsoft just had a good run. T-Mobile just had an outrageous run. I mean, a lot of the names have had a big, and I just don't think they're going to sustain those kind of upwards pressure, and that's what moves SPY. So just a little pullback naturally, and it again probably. I mean, we talked about the 50 on the weekly getting touched this year. It just hasn't happened, and that's extremely bullish. So that thesis probably ain't going to change until we see it. That we're going to continue to get overcooked and looking for pullback to higher lows. So there's always stuff that has divergence from the pullback that holds, and that's what I look for. I always look for stuff that's strong in weakness, and vice versa. So yeah, good. I think good week P.
absolutely.
Good week P. Probably one of the first weeks for me inside of the last month where I'm looking to add a lot more, just because I've had so much selling over the last couple of weeks on on the time thesis that we talked about over 2 months ago. So
Yeah, absolutely.
perfect. You ready to get to work?
All right, good stuff.
All right. Like and subscribe. A link somewhere, people.